speaking of Texas Tech, their upper round was against CSUF, another team we will be seeing later today against Clemson. They had a pretty clean game, 4-1. I was personally watching that as that was going concurrent with the OKW Clemson game. It was kind of odd, though, because I felt like the scoreline, 4-1, seems like it's a CSUF kind of blowout. Maybe not blowout, but it wasn't really a worry. But in the end, the games were extremely close. The first game was a literal 2-minute overtime that Texas Tech could have won, but in the end, CSUF were able to make it. So I think there's some questions about CSUF and what team are we seeing? Because this is not the same team we saw in the beginning of the season, I would say.
No, I do not think that it is the same CSUF, nor is it the same Clemson. I mean, that's one major thing that happened. Beans coming in as a little bit of a late addition, if I'm correct. We had a few roster changes that kind of like popped out throughout the entirety of conference play. And I mean, for the most part, that was a very good change for Clemson. CSUF, obviously, they didn't go through that roster change, but as of recent, they've kind of been on a little bit of a, not downhill, but not performing to sort of the expectation that we have of them. So this is a great opportunity for, I feel like, Clemson to really like step up and say, you know, you guys might have gotten the best of us during conference play, but this is playoffs. This is a completely different environment, and we're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think it's a very valid take. And then obviously, other teams we got to talk about. There's Nebraska versus Washington State. Nebraska, very clean for them. 4-0. Only had one issue in game 3 where it was a multi-minute overtime. But other than that, it's clean sweep. No issues. They move on to today, where they will be playing Iowa State. But I think Washington State's a team I want to focus on more between the two, because then their lower round, we happen to stream it again. And that game was a bit interesting because they beat OKW 4-2. That's 2-0 for the North teams against the South teams, which we will come back to in a second. But pretty good from Washington State. 12 shots per game. Absolutely, like, offensively complete there. And Strider, I think, was his best game I think we've seen out of him the entire season.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. He has been a little bit more of the third man, I guess it would be fair to say. Not the one who's stepping up, making some of the offensive plays like we've seen with Nienta or something like that, and not really being that sort of middleman that does the controlling or does some of the management, like Koro has. But hey, listen, if you're going to show up and do something, hey, do it in the playoffs. That's when you need it the most.
Yeah, but I think we said it a second ago. North v South. It was 2-0 for the North versus South in the first interconference matchups we've seen since the beginning of the weeks 1 and 3. I think we have our average rankings that we talked about that we all made before the beginning of the playoffs. And I think in general, we actually predicted it pretty well, where we thought OKW and Texas Tech, they were going to be the first teams out on average that we had, obviously. And in the end, OKW, Texas Tech, the first teams out. But I think there's also some things we see. Our top fours as an aggregate, obviously CSUF's there. We'll come back and say some stuff there. But the next 3 teams are all Northern. I guess, does anyone want to talk about, like, is the North that much better than the South right now? Especially with Clemson stepping up and the question marks about the second half of the South?
I think that's a fair assertion to make. I mean, as we've already talked about, the North is 2-0 against the Southern teams. They just have been the better overall teams. The only real exception to that being Fullerton, who, as we've already again mentioned, they're starting to kind of plateau out, little underperformances, by at least by comparison to expectation. The North are really asserting themselves and very well may make this. I mean, a Northern final. They may go all the way and just completely wipe the South just out of existence.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy at all. But obviously, you mentioned CSUF there, Fullerton. But Clemson, right? I think none of us were really expectant about how good this team would actually be, right? Because does anyone, I think we'll talk about in the hot takes, but does anyone disagree that they're probably on the level, they're better than Kansas State now? Is anyone like against that thought process?
I mean, I could see a case for it. I mean, like we've talked about before, Kansas State had a very strong start. I believe going 7-0 in their first 7 games, and then losing to some northern opponents toward the end there. But Clemson has almost been on a little bit of a different trajectory where now they're looking even better than the regular season may have indicated. And they've always been a strong team, but they're just looking especially strong. So I could definitely see Clemson taking that series.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. But I think we have been talking about a bit these teams and like some of the rankings for them. I think let's talk about some hot takes that we have, right? I think we all have like a certain strong opinion, and I got one right here. I know I was hyping up and saying Clemson might be better than Kansas State, but my hot take is whoever loses that South game, CSUF Clemson, they're out of the tournament right then and there in the lowers game. I think the loser of CSUF Clemson will be eliminated by Kansas State. I think Kansas State's been a good enough team. I think we saw they obviously went to the game 7 against Iowa State, a team that I think a couple of us respect here pretty highly. And then obviously, then they 4-1 Texas Tech. And I think they did it in a better fashion than CSUF did in the end. So I think it's fair to say by that, I think I could see Kansas State is better than CSUF. And the Clemson off of a loss could very well lose it. Obviously, time will only tell. But that's my hot take. I think Kansas State will be eliminating a Southern team.
I mean, in the case that Clemson loses, I would have to disagree with you there based on the reasons I just shared. But my hot take on the northern end of things is that I think Iowa State is the highest potential team when you look at this playoff bracket. And they are facing a number 1 Nebraska in this upper semifinal. And not only do I think that Iowa State wins this series, but like I've said before, I think Iowa State wins this season and are crowned the Meridian Collegiate Conference inaugural champions of this season. I think Iowa State, just from the games that I've watched and from across this whole season, they obviously have a great coach in support there. And they can just make some team plays happen. Now, there are ups and downs associated with that, but the ups can be really big, I feel like, when we look at Iowa State. So I feel like they have the potential to go all the way.
You know, I don't totally disagree with everything you just said. I share your sentiment. Iowa's going to pull off an upset. They're going to move on. But I think my bigger hot take right now, and this is going to just be, I think, the hottest, perhaps, unless I get one-upped. I think Fullerton sweeps Clemson, sends them down to Kansas, and then Clemson removes Kansas State from the tournament. Perhaps a little bit bold, perhaps a little bit biased in favor of, my Fullerton friends, but I have faith in them. They're 10-0 for a reason.
Okay.
I think a sweep is bold. I think a sweep is extremely bold.
It's definitely bold. Mine is not nearly as bold, and I think I'm going to change it a little bit from what I originally had planned. I think, even though my prediction might say otherwise when we get to those, I think Clemson's going to make it to the finals. I'm just going to say that. I think Clemson makes it to the finals.
Okay.
Nice and simple.
Is that through uppers or lowers?
I don't think it matters. I think they're just going to get there no matter how.
Okay, but you don't know if they're going to win or not. You're just confident in the finals.
I'm confident in them getting there. That's all that matters.
Okay. So top 2 team Clemson. I think it's definitely bold, but I think they've shown signs of it. So I don't think it's the most absolutely insane thing. But I think we're soon going to be getting off to kickoff here in game time. But I think before we do that, let's show the bracket and what we should be expecting from day 2 of the Meridian Collegiate Conference here. As you will be seeing in upper round 2, we will be having the Nebraska-Iowa State game. That will be happening off stream. Nebraska, I believe, is streaming that. Can someone confirm that for me?
Can confirm that. There is a link in chat if you'd like to go and watch it alongside this one.
Yep, Nebraska-Iowa State. They will be having the game. I think it's starting soon, if not already. And then the game on here, ESUF Clemson. I think it's the game that we're going to be talking about. It's the game we're going to be streaming soon up. And I think let's get straight into it. CSUF Clemson. Both teams won on Wednesday. Both teams are fairly strong. Okay. CSUF was considered the number 1 team out of the South, and in general, despite some of the weaker endings, they are the number 1 team. But I think we'll start it off. Perez, Arch, who are you taking in this game? I think you talked about it earlier, but
I mean, I already said it, but give me Fullerton in a sweep.
a sweep. All right, Fast, how about you?
I'm sticking true to what is currently a perfect bracket. I'm currently 6 for 6, and we will see if that becomes 7 for 7. I have CSUF winning 4-3, Game 7 thriller.
Oh. So here's the thing. I have the same bracket as Fast right now. We're both 6 for 6. My bracket says CSUF's gonna win it. I've seen too much. My belief in Clemson has shot through the roof. I'm not sick with my bracket anymore. I think Clemson's gonna take this in 6 games.
Wow.
I think
Thanks.
Clemson's been amazing. I think Beans has been great. Scoob's been awesome, and I think they have what it takes.
Okay. Okay. I know that I was doing a little bit of drumming up of Clemson, and I do think that it's very possible for them to take it. But I am still going to be siding with CSUF here. If we get the CSUF that we've seen throughout this entire season, if we get the CSUF we know that they can be, I don't think Clemson can match that. But it's going to be all up to Clemson. This is going to be their game to win, and it's CSUF's game to lose.
Yeah, well, I think, what about a coin? I think we want a bit of a coin toss,
have
even if the
a
desk
coin.
doesn't say it. We have a coin. That's been here for the regular season.
Do
What
have
does
a
that coin say?
All right,
And
we'll
the
have
1 seed and the blue team, the home team, will be CSUF. So,
home team will be CSUF. Clemson, we'll give it a nice flip, and it'll be whichever's top side. Looks like it's going to be CSUF.
so here we go. 4-1 on the desk. So, I'm the only reason we don't have a cursor. Better be thankful there, Art, or else it'd be looking kind of rough for you. But, I think it's about to be time for casting. So, I think we will be saying goodbye to Fast and Arch, and it will be Nivex and I here, us two, and we will be seeing you. See you guys later. But here we go, Nivex. I think we're about to be starting soon enough, maybe in a minute or so. The CSUF Clemson game, upper round 2. How you feeling?
Listen, I'm excited. This, I feel like, is a nice culmination of a lot of what's kind of been drumming up in the South, right? In the entire season, it has been a lot of, okay, CSUF, they are just at the top. They are just taking everything. They're doing everything right. They're beating every single team that comes in front of them. Maybe there was a moment they had a little bit of a close call, maybe some games that the entire series was a little bit closer, though the series score doesn't reflect it. But right now, this is the chance for Clemson to say, hey, we might be the 3rd seed. We still have a chance, and we can do it. Again, I alluded to this a little bit earlier. This is playoffs, completely different environment. 2 teams that were completely different than the time they previously met. So, this is going to be a big determinant for the entire rest of this playoffs because these 2 teams, they have something to prove.
Yeah, I mean, this can be interesting, right? Because I'm looking at some of the stats right now as we're talking. DSUF has pretty much 2 shots more. It's 10.4 versus 8.75. CSUF has that 10.4. But the goals per game side so heavily with Clemson. 4.25 per game. That's 16. That's like 17 goals in 4 games. That's absolutely mad. It's not sustainable, but I think it's absolutely impressive, right? And that's something that, if they show shades of that, that's nearly double the average. How do you save that as a team, right? You got to stop that somehow. And I don't know. Of all the teams, they got the best chance, CSUF. But obviously, we'll have to see.
We will have to see. And if you're going to take this in the most literal fashion, Clemson was the number 3 seed. So I guess this is the best matchup that CSUF could have gone against on paper, but I don't think that it's, the best looking at the current standings, as we are about to get into our first match of the upper finals to determine who's the best in the South, as we have CSUF versus Clemson underway.
Yeah, and already right here, we got CSUF on the blue side, Clemson on their signature orange, but Scoob's already going to try to put a shot. Won't be on target, gets a bit of harassment. Nebula will be on it. Both of these teams have talked about how they wanted to play each other. Nebula, I have talked to him personally, and he's talked about how he wants to play a Clemson with Beads. At this point, he couldn't do in Week 10, but his wish has been granted here in upper round 2 of the playoffs. So let's see where this goes. And right now, Clemson is playing a bit of defense. Jarda tries to put a shot on Gallium, though. We didn't talk about him, really. But he's been great as well for this team. But obviously, Beans, he is going to be the hero for this team. Bit of a call off there as Scoob tries to go. Jarda doesn't get the touch. Gallium's actually going to try. Won't be on target, and Bats will recover.
Bats, he's going to try and take possession, at least put it out to the midfield. Jarda's going to take possession of it, maybe get the dunk here. And CSUF is going to start off with the scoring.
And I mean, what a play. Bats off the back wall, gets the reset to the pass. Jarda is on it, gets the dunk. Gallium can't do anything. CSUF are starting strong with an amazing goal.
Absolutely amazing goal. I mean, that was off the backboard, air dribble to midfield, pick up from Jarda as he will try and do it again. Flip reset over. Does he get it in? Oh my goodness, I didn't even get to finish my sentence and he scored again.
I mean, all right, if you're Clemson, you gotta be a bit terrified. If you're getting this version of Jarda, the MVP of the entire league, it's gonna be a rough fight. And right now, it's been a minute and he's already playing lights out, scoring 2 goals that people would be happy to have after an entire series. He's trying to go for a third, just a double. No, not gonna be on target. Bats is there. Scoob, huge save, and already Clemson are on the back foot and they're on it harsh. Gallium, though, big clear, will be met by Vats. He's going to go up into the sky. Beans will deny it. Nebula's going to try, but gets also beat by Scoob. Tries to go for a sideball. Won't quite. Jarda, though, gets possession, gets a beat, gets a 50. Will stick around on it, but Scoob gets the pinch out. But right now, it feels like Clemson, they're already feeling so awkward. It feels like CSUF. We were talking about them as they're feeling like worse and worse. This is the best we've already seen them play in a minute in, I think, easily.
Oh, yes. Well, in front of the entire playoffs, I will say. Granted, it's only really been one game, as Jarda almost adding a hat trick to his to this game already, and we're barely halfway through it. But I think that's a very fair statement to say. Last game that they had against Texas Tech, that was obviously not on the main stream, but it was on Texas Tech's stream. Felt like they were a little slow at times. Texas Tech taking them to some pretty close games, and that's not the CSUF that we've come to know, that takes games that close against a team that, on paper is pretty solid, but did only place as a 4th seed. So a very good showing here from CSUF so far, and maybe a good sign for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of things we're going to have to see. Beans, obviously, has very much a team-style play with his teammates there, but Beans right now gets absolutely dunked by Bats as I mention his name. And already this game's getting out of hand, and CSUF is on a dominant pace right now, showing why they're the top of the South.
Absolutely, and all things considered, we've sat here and we've chatted about Jarda just a little bit. Every player on this CSUF team does their job so well at times. A lot of teams have that high scorer or someone who is taking a ton of shots, just putting a lot of goals in. But it's not without the help of a well-rounded team. It's not without the help of some other players that will play solid and get the results that you need, that allow for someone to outshine and really put up the kind of stats that we've seen throughout this entire season. So, we can sit here and obviously give as much props as we want to Jarda because of the amazing performance that he's putting on right now and the amazing performances he's put on. But this entire CSUF roster, you never want to be on the back foot against any of these players.
No, 100% not. And I remember the regular season stat line that was absolutely disgusting, showed how good this team was in goals plus assists per game. Every single player held a top 3 spot in goals plus assists per game. The entire top 3 was just all CSUF. And if that doesn't sum up how good this team is, I don't know what else will, because no other team was close to them. But right now, Beans has to get a touch there. Won't be the best, but it will be enough to stop. Scoob tries to get it out. Beans will meet it. Jarda will be the last man back, but I mean, if there's anyone who's going to be last man back, of course it would be him. Gallium, though, just a shot on. It's actually in. A minute left in this game, 2 goals. It's still possible.
It is still possible, and I think we've seen this from Clemson before. Some games, during the regular season have been a little sketchy for them, and they've gotten out of it, so why not do it during the playoffs? And obviously getting a goal, even if this game does end up, as that almost rolls in, does end up being in CSUF's favor, getting a goal is still a great sign that, hey, we still can score. We're still in this, even though right now it seems like CSUF have just started off on the right foot.
Yeah, but there's going to be a shot there. Nebula will have to get the save. It's awkward, and he does, though. But as we're speaking, there has been 2 games played over in Nebraska, Iowa State. Nebraska has gone 2-0 in them going into Game 3. So if they win this next one, there will be a reverse sweep attempt by Iowa State. Unfortunately, Iowa State is playing with a sub today due to the issues. So bit of an asterisk on Iowa State's performance. They're going to have to recover with their lowers that I would assume they try to put to tomorrow. But right now, we're obviously focused on this game, which looks like it will be reaching its end soon, unless a shot comes here. There is going to be one, but it's going to be saved. Gallium puts a shot top right. 10 seconds left. Clemson, ever since those first 2 goals, it has been a much better game from them. And right now, that's showing.
Yeah,
But
well,
obviously-
and again, obviously, kind of starting to get to the waning half of this. Still very much so winnable for Clemson. Let's not get that twisted in any way. But it's good that they're getting this kind of momentum sort of coming into this
Yeah.
last bit of the game. It's obviously not going to be everything that they want out of a first match, but nonetheless, still a good showing, even with the scoreline being as it was.
Yeah, as this game comes to an end right there, Qual touches the ground. 3-2. CSUF, they get Game 1. But I think all in all, obviously, rough start. Jarda, masterclass first minute. Literally as good as it needed to be. And it worked out very well for him. But we will be seeing here in the Game 2 soon enough in a bit over 30 seconds whether or not they have something here, Clemson. Because I feel like Jarda, obviously, we're not going to expect that same exact play. I mean, that Vats, what was it? The Vats Jarda play to start the game off for their first goal was amazing, right? I think that genuinely was one of the best goals we've seen already. And I think it came out of nowhere. We weren't ready for it. It was too early.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it. I don't know about anyone else because I feel like the match kind of just started and we sort of just kicked right into it. But hey, if you want to have a good start to, kicking back into gear that we expect you to be in, that's a great way to do it. Midfield, dribble from the backboard, pass it to your teammate, get a flip reset, get it absolutely beautiful play. That's the kind of CSUF that is going to be the one to win this tournament.
Yeah, and I think I just got kicked out of the game. You love to see it. But yeah, it'll
all
be very
things-
interesting to see.
Yeah, all things considered, I will say one thing that I want to see out of this Clemson team is a little bit more of the aggression. I feel like that's one thing they started coming into later on in the season as the team sort of not necessarily started solidifying a style, but kind of fitting into the groove they felt like they could be in. And within this first match, at least I saw kind of glimpses of it with Scoob doing a nice sweep around, demoing 2 people in the CSUF rotation and stuff like that. That's the kind of aggression that we want to see from Clemson, apologies, because that's how they shake up these other teams. That's how they get the kind of momentum that they need to start playing the game that they want to play, and that's exactly what they need in this game too.
Yeah, 100%. I also want to see Scoob just be that guy who's super aggro and is just great for this team. But right as we go kick off, Nebula will get the challenge on Beans there. We'll slow down this rotation that they'd like. Jarda will get 50'd here. Who's going to be first? It's going to be Scoob. Heavy touch will get recovered fine by Vats. He goes for a pinch attempt. Not powerful enough. Won't get much. Jarda will be met by Beans. And already, it's a bit of just heavy challenges that start this game and setting the tone.
Yeah, and it looks like we might have a little bit of just, I don't know if it was confusion or just unsure which team was going to challenge in that corner, but nonetheless, it looks like CSUF coming out on the positive side of it, although Vats, he's going to have to be up and stopping a shot there from Scoob, as Gallium, he's going to jump in, not able to catch up to that, and it might be left with a little bit of a one-on-one for Beans there. Vats going to get past, but not past the last defender, as Nebula placing it into this corner.
Yeah, but has no boost, can't get the challenge. Jarda and Beans one-on-one, 2 best players in this lobby, I think it's safe to say. Will be at it, but no boost for Jarda here. Gets a flick, but Scoob is just buying so much time for his team to get ready. But Vats will be taking control. Beats Huge 50 will go sky high. Nebula puts it back into the corner. I don't think Jarda was actually ready for that. Scoob was the first one on it. Suddenly, center Beans has a shot off the post. And CSUF, this still tied game.
Still tied game and a decent sigh of relief there from CSUF. I feel like if that was a little bit off to the right, that might have been a good shot in. And I can say the same thing about just a little bit to the left there as a shot comes through for CSUF. But they're going to have to go through a decent reset here as Jarda collects into the corner. Does miss the first touch, but is able to try and get a control center. And Vats, big 50 is going to start forcing it onto this Clemson side.
Yeah, Nebula's going to try to follow this up. Gets a center, but there's no teammate there. They didn't expect him to actually beat it that hard. Jarda's going to leave it for Vats. No boost, though. Questioning that take, and gets put into the corner. Scoob's a bit awkward. Just going to slow the play down, meet the Vats 50 easily well. But that boost taken is going to be taken by Beans. There's no issues on the starvation happening yet. And I think that's one of the big things we haven't seen yet. Both of these teams aren't willing to starve the other one out. Both teams have been very well at where they need to go. Gallium pre-jumping that? Gets the 50 on it. Has it worked out? Yes, it has! Gallium, what is going through your mind? And that worked spectacularly.
Spectacularly, yes. Intentionally, maybe not, but being in the right place at the right time is the right thing. So in this case, Clemson is going to be the one to get the first goal in this game too.
Yeah, but right now it looks like we're going to be seeing another shot attempt. It's going to be way high. Nebula gets a big hit out. Beans will deny it, as Vats will take a controlling touch. Beans will try to meet. Will get 50 to the center. Scoob will beat out Nebula. Jarda has to get the save. Gets a clear with it. And Vats is still there, staying in the midfield. Gets actually a boost pickup on the corner from Clemson. Suddenly, the boost starvation game is very real here for Clemson. Gallium's on 40. Scoob's on full, but Beans has nothing. So that's to picks up the minis. But Jarda, of course, is Jarda going for the double. That's not in, but it's almost not quite. No teammates there. CSUF feels like their second man is not willing to be there. They're very willing to do these solo plays unless they feel it's very good. But there's a shot attempt. There's no one. There was a second man. There it is. But again, I think if there was a player closer on Clemson, that opportunity wouldn't have actually existed.
Yeah, I think this was more of a defensive error coming off of that left post there. But nonetheless, some good just movement around the field there from CSUF. Good awareness to try and follow up on something that was definitely an awkward moment for Clemson. And Vats, I think he might have been able to get a second reset there following that up. But we will get a nice even 1-1 game as Jarda trying to take it over the last Clemson defender. Not able to get it past, but this might be turning the ball around for Clemson.
Yeah, Vats controls it, but doesn't have boost. Beans will put it center. It's going to be met easily by Nebula, but the boosts are so awkward here for multiple players. Vats and Jarda are both at 0. Nebula gets a touch, gets a double, actually. It's going to be a huge one. It's going to buy so much time. Beans will beat out Nebula, tries to get a follow-up. Gets Bass 2, actually. Jarda barely gets it. Awkward touch there from both players. Thankfully, Jarda was able to get a clearing touch. As we're speaking here, Nebraska has successfully gone up 3-0 against Iowa State, but right now that's not the issues as Clemson is trying to put the pressure on CSUF, but Jarda, who else was it going to be, gets the ball out, and a minute remaining, tied game. It's anyone's right now as Vats gets a reset over.
It is anyone's, and I feel like both of these teams, I know you were mentioning it a little bit earlier, some of the boost management that was going on. I feel like both of these teams have done a decent job making sure that they're at least collecting the boosts they need to. So I'm kind of curious if maybe that's something that, as you said, maybe that's something that these teams need to be looking forward to, looking into, because yes, that will be a little bit aggressive, but this is playoffs. You've got to be aggressive. You got to try and take every single chance you can get to get the advantage, and that's probably what these teams are going to be looking at.
Yeah, right now, those final 15 seconds, Jarda doesn't get the touch, so it's Beans just clearing this ball out. Vats is kind of awkward. Gets faked out. There's a demo, actually. Suddenly, there's an opportunity. Beat Gallium straight down. Scoob gets saved by Vats' best opportunity since the actual goal. But right now, there's a counterattack opportunity. Nebula gets 50 with Beans. Jarda, 50 with Scoob. Is that ball going to finally hit the ground? With that clear, I believe it will. We are in overtime in Game 2. And suddenly, let's see this kickoff. If we see anything interesting, it will be a very close cheat. There's a miss, actually, by Jarda. Has gotten the ball recovered, though, so will be A-okay. And there's a double commit that pinches that ball straight to the backside. It's actually very awkward. You're almost bumped into it. But Clemson they have recovered, and suddenly overtime has properly begun.
Overtime has properly begun, and I feel like we're kind of back to what, regular time was giving us. Both of these teams at a fairly balanced rate, although Beans, maybe he can get another touch past last defender, but no. Jarda's going to step in, make sure that nothing can happen from that play as he clears the ball all the way off to the other side. Is that going to be in front of it? No. Jarda is going to stay with it, get a 50, maybe get one more touch, trying to get it to Vats. Vats off of an awkward Beans touch. He's going to get it. Maybe the after ball. Get in! CSUF, they're going to take game 2.
Yeah, Beans has to dodge the bump attempt, and Vats air dribble, gets past 2, and 2-0 for CSUF, and suddenly worries in the Clemson side. Arch is telling us, does he know ball? The 4-0 is very real here. It's been close games. They've been 1-goal games. But they've been CSUF's games.
They have been CSUF's games indeed, but it is very important to point out these have been close games as well. I do feel like both of these teams are having the opportunities that they need to capitalize on. I feel like at the beginning of that game, we might have had a nice glimpse of just some shot opportunities that weren't quite making the mark that some of the team would have liked them to. So definitely very up in the air, but all things considered, I think the one thing that CSUF is really doing great right now is some of their midfield presence. I feel like a lot of the control, a lot of the opportunities that they're developing are starting in this midfield, whether it's just winning a good solid 50 that allows Vats to dribble it in, just a nice little drive pop up, air dribble, dunk into the net. Something even as simple as just getting your ball to teammate in a good spot. I feel like they're just doing that so well right now, and Clemson needs to figure out something to work against that, because right now I don't feel like they have it yet.
Yeah, I think one of the big things I think is a very positive thing for Clemson is their demo amounts, right? They had 6 demos in that game, and they helped so much. But right now, we'll see if they continue that in Forbidden Temple in Game 3. This is a must-win for Clemson, or else they got to start a reverse sweep against... If they win this, I think it's pretty safe to say they've taken back that best team in the entire league.
I think it's very safe to say that, as I don't think they want that kind of outcome. Beans jumping in on a little bit of a scoop pop to the center, right past that last defender, and just like last game, Clemson is going to go up on the scoring.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a very good start, right? You have question marks after that overtime, but you instantly responded. Gallium's turn, now he's going to try. He gets past 2, actually. It's open! Scoop gets it in less than 20 seconds and faster than the first goal. Off of Gallium's little secondary touch, they're past 2. Clemson, they're starting to already put the pressure on. And that's what they need as a response after what feels like a game 2 that could have been very winnable. It feels like, right, Beans had that shot early on, if mid-game, that he could have won the game on if he scored it, actually.
Yeah, and all things considered, I feel like I might be seeing a little bit of indecision from this CSUF defense, at least at the moment. Although Jarda taking up this sideline, maybe trying to get him off of that defense, because so far it hasn't really been working out the best for them. We'll see if they're able to do it again. Jarda putting upfield. We're going to look for center pass here, a bump on defense. Is that going to be something they can capitalize on? Not quite yet. I don't think I see any CSU players up, although Scoob definitely willing to jump on that as Jarda clears it to the complete opposite side of the field. We'll see if Vats can do anything with this. He's going to get that double jump that helped them score that overtime goal last game. Not going to result in what they want this time around, but with a big 50 from Beans, it seems like this Clemson pressure, even with CSUF kind of just getting out every once in a while, are too much for them, but never mind. I'm not talking. Ignore me.
Yeah, I think that was Gallium. He tried to stop Jarda. I don't blame him. But unfortunately, his touch was exactly what Jarda was looking for anyways. Scoob. Just his teammate infields it to Vats, and there's nothing he can do. 1-goal game suddenly. Still very winnable here for CSUF. But yes, I think what you were saying very early on was that, hesitancy has already gone away. Jarda, he's being a bit more aggro again. He's trying things out. And it's working out. If they lose a hesitancy, I think it again goes back to Clemson's side. But right now, Jarda will just get a hard beat. No boost, no problem for the guy. Just wall dashing everywhere. Doesn't get a touch, though. Scoob has no issues to control this ball. Tries to start an air dribble? I don't know how I feel about that decision, but you know what? Scoob does Scoob things. This guy will make something out of nothing. But Gallium will be third man. Is that just open? Beans trying to get a bump. He can't. Jarda will dodge it and will make sure that's saved.
All things considered, I feel like those are the kind of goals that Clemson needs to capitalize on the most. If they're going to find those kind of gaps, I think that's likely what happened within those first 2 goals that they got, if I'm remembering them correctly. It's just small, momentary mistakes from the CSUF team. Just proving that, you know what, they're not invincible. They aren't unbreakable, as they've sort of proven themselves to be so far. That's how Clemson is going to win this, as it does seem like we might be getting a little bit of a pressure change. CSUF, although they're running back right now, they all have full boost, and they are ready to take this challenge, take this possession off the sidewall, and get on going with their next attack.
Yeah, there's a shot there, but it's going to be a double commit. That's very awkward. Jarda's going to put a shot, but it's actually very weak. It's not even on target. Beans will be the one to recollect. Draws to 50 bats. We'll go center. Scoob is up. Scoob is controlling. Scoob gets bumped. Nothing you can do. Jarda clears it out. Meets his bats there. Will be controlled by Gallium, who's going to take his time. We'll get a 50 here of Nebula, and will not be favorable. Who's going to be first to it? Will be Beans. We'll have to meet Nebula once more. Nebula is very good on these 50s. Puts it center, in fact. But there's no issue. Beat out there from Scoob. Jarda will meet it, and suddenly the pressure is getting on. There's 2 players with no boost here for this Clemson team, but the one with boost is able to get the challenge, but Spat's going to try to put a shot on, won't be on. Bean has to get the 50 very quick, has to try to get there again, make sure there's nothing possible, but Clemson's been good with this. They have a teammate following up very closely. Sometimes it's against them, but in times like that is exactly what you need to make sure you don't get scored on. But this ball is still on the Clemson half. They haven't gotten it quite out yet. The pressure has not been relieved as Jarda, he gets full boost, but can't get the fake off. And Bats, though, will get the clear again. Jarda's up. Jarda's trying to do it. Jarda gets the reset. Jarda can't put it on. And that ball has been cleared. Pressure has been relieved. Then Clemson, they get away with it.
They do get away with it, and Scoob meeting this off the ceiling, although Vats does recollect it very quickly. We'll see. I think Jarda's the one who's going to opt to go for the control here, and he does get it. Some good comms there to let Jarda take it. I saw Nebula go up the wall, but hey, excellent play there, just getting that one last dodge to move it past the defender, and we have a tied game.
Yeah, and speaking of games, it started a reverse sweep. It's happening for Iowa State. 3-1 now in the series. 2 minute 30 seconds overtime. Salty's able to score it. So, you know, Salty was amazing in their last series, but Gallium's going to try to put a shot on. No, not quite. We'll see where that game progresses over on the other side of the upper bracket. Obviously, you can go watch it over on Nebraska's esports page on Twitch, but Bean's going to try to put a shot on. Can't quite. Gallium has no boost. Is out of the play. Scoob's shot, though, is off target. Gallium's trying to stick around, but he's getting bumped. I'm looking at the stat lines right now. I don't think there's really been demos for either team. It's only been one from each side right now, and I'm not a big fan of that if I'm a Clemson player. I think that's one of the strongest traits is when they're doing this physicality. I think that's what they work, but obviously, still a tie game, but I think that's something I would like to see changed if we're going into this overtime, which we very well may.
Yeah, I 100% agree there. That's something we were obviously talking about before. I think it was before this game started that Clemson's bread and butter, I think would be very fair to say, is some of their aggression. That's something they kind of started picking up halfway through the season. And if you want to break a team that feels like they're playing really solid or feels like they just know what they're doing and they're confident in every step, start disrupting what they're doing. That is exactly what Clemson needs to be focusing on right now, and we'll see if that starts peeking through as this overtime now continues.
Well, there's going to be a ball very high. Scoob, though, is that a pinch? I don't even know anymore. Scoob just gets the weirdest touches, and he makes them work somehow. Beans will be the one to 50 here. Jarda does it well enough. Will be met by Gallium? No. Gets an awkward one. It's going to be met by Vats, actually. He has to take a shot. Will be high. Who's going to be next? It's going to be Nebula. Beans, though, will be actually the one to get the contact, as it's still so awkward. There's a shot. No one's at net! That scored. I think someone left the net. Greeted for boost.
I think it was a combination of a lot of things. I did see a bump come through on one of the defenders, which might have been a little bit of a cause for thinking, oh yeah, I'll be safe to run, maybe just grab a quick 100 or something like that. But in this case, CSUF taking advantage of some aggression and just having some good sustained pressure that leads them to win another overtime.
I think one of the most worrying traits of this game is this scoreline Those 2 goals came from Clemson in 17 seconds of gameplay in the first 17. They had 2 shots there. It might have been even 3, but 2 shots there, I'm going to say. They had 3 shots for the rest of the game. Like, that was, other than those 17 seconds that made it look better than it actually was, this was all CSUF.
I mean, it's one thing to have a good start to your game. It's another thing to try and hold on to it. And I feel like, all things considered, Clemson did a decent job holding on to it. As compared to some of the last matches, I mean, we haven't really had that high scoring of games so far. So Clemson getting the 2 goals right off the bat and then holding CSUF to 2 goals is still really a positive, but it seems like once they get into that overtime, they just can't convert. So we're going to have to see if they change anything up. Maybe they look at some slight tweaks or anything different as we get to a match point in this case for CSUF.
Yeah, might be good. Not good enough. That could have been a goal there. Scoob couldn't actually put it. And things aren't going well here for Clemson as we continue on. But right now, the worries on the minds of Clemson is you are about to get swept. You've gone from possibly one of the underrated teams that can make a run to a team who just straight up might get swept right here. With no competition. Texas Tech took a game off of the CSUF team the other day. Obviously, Texas Tech is a very decent team. And this is a much better CSUF. I think they are playing up to their opponents. I think it's fair to say. But right now, Clemson, you got to outplay your opponents if you want to win this game. And it starts here in Aquadome. Gallium puts a shot middle. Beans is there to recollect, and that 50 will be into the CSUF side, but Vats will be the guy to meet it. He's going to get the reset. Will take control. Keeps the dribble going, but Beans will stop it. But again, it's just that. It's just the CSUF play. They have these nice shots. They have this creativity that's working very well. And even if it's not on target, it's pressure. And there's the first shot we've had from Clemson, but instantaneously, the pressure is gone because they're so far back.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out as that shot will almost meet the back of the net, but Jarda stepping in there. I think it's important to point out that CSUF are never too far away from the ball. I feel like that might be an interesting thing to point out. Some of these times, like what we saw right there, Clemson sort of just loses a little bit of distance from the ball, and then CSUF immediately jumps on the opportunity to possess it, to get a dunk, a 50, or something. And Clemson is kind of just letting them a little bit, just letting them get away with some of these moments of possession, moments of pressure. They need to maybe hold the ball a little bit closer to them, or just be a bit more decisive in where they want to be, because this CSUF team is, and right now this CSUF team is the one that's winning.
Yeah, the CSUF team is the one that just stole boost from Clemson. So Gallium will have nothing. The huge clear again. But again, yeah, like you're saying, the ball controlled by Nebula. Gets put down to Bats. There's no one there. Oh, nope, it's going to be Jordan now. They got to wait. And right now, though, we got a close game over there. Game 5 for the Iowa State-Nebraska game. It is 30 seconds left, I believe that said. It's 1-1. But Jarda, which we focus back on this one, is trying to stop it. And the Electro just put the goal to make this 2-1 up. So another goal needed from Iowa State to keep themselves in it, in the upper bracket. But Beans tries to start. Will there be a demo? No. Nebula will dodge it. Vats will be the next one on it. 2v2 here. Scoob will just fake it out. Will get met by Jarda, though, who puts it to the side. As much as we're saying the criticisms of Clemson and the praises of CSUF, the goal line doesn't show that. It is still a very even game. There's a bump, but the moment I say that, of course Nebula scores to make this a CSUF lead.
Yeah, you know, just a little bit of the moment that I could sense that you were talking about that.
Jones just scored a 0-second goal.
So they're going into overtime? Oh my goodness.
Iowa State is bending for their life right now. Remember, this Iowa State team is playing with a sub right now. So all of this is like, I mean, fair enough. Jones, yeah, good job. But right now, I think it's Snipes, I think is the guy's name, I believe. There's a second goal here for CSUF. It's feeling kind of worse and worse for this Clemson team. Yeah, Scoob, could he have reached that? I mean, kind of, but Jarda is just, he's good, he's fast. He's quick to it all, and he outpaces him. He scores him. Clemson, you haven't responded in nearly. It's going to be close to 10 minutes of game time by the time this game's over if they end this 0. They need to get something going because right now they actually haven't had anything since the 17 seconds in game 3.
Yeah, that is a slightly worrisome stat as Gallium getting that 50, maybe going to be the start of what they need. Jarda putting that off of his own backboard. That's going to reach Vats. We'll see if he can try and continue it. A double commit there from Clemson. It's going to leave a one-on-one with Jarda. Is he going to be able to sink it? An absolutely disgusting play here from Jarda. I mean, you have 0 boost. That's the play you go for. And 3 goals in a minute 22. It's looking less and less likely for this Clemson team.
And I mean, that's an absolute mental killer there if you're Scoob, right? You gotta find a way to shake it off. I mean, he's already pre-jumping. Yeah, no, never mind. It's not an issue for this. It's still overtime currently for Iowa State, Nebraska. But right now, as this game keeps on going, Jarda will try. We'll get 50 there, but time gets ticked away. We're about to reach the minute mark, and we do right now. 3 goals in a minute. It's not impossible, but against a CSUF team that's looked this good, it may as well be. But Scooby's going to try to start it off. Beans tries to get the doink. No, it will be going too high. But there's another shot response. No, Gallium gets stopped by Jarda. And again, this goal gets good center, but it's not quite on target. And we keep on going, and that's another open shot, and it's over.
I think it's relatively fair to say that it's over. 4 goals in 30 seconds is a lot harder than the previous 3 goals in 122. But I think CSUF, they have found the rhythm that they want to play at. They have found the place and the style that they want to be in. And they are now running away with it because I think they have figured out this Clemson team and they know what they're doing.
And I think it's safe to say, any doubts about this CSUF team being the best team has just been washed away. I think they've secured it again. Clemson was a really strong team, and they were looking like they could make something happen. Maybe they could take the crown of the South. CSUF has just thrown those thoughts out the window as they have gone with an absolutely dominant performance here in Game 4 to win out the series, to take themselves to a guaranteed top 3. But as we were speaking, it is officially the end of the series over, and the Nebraska-Iowa State game is a 3-minute overtime goes Nebraska's way, and we'll be seeing a round fight in the upper finals, Nebraska versus CSUF.
That is going to be a heavyweight championship. That is going to be a huge match. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the finals before the finals. If that makes sense. I know sometimes we get those in like semis or something like that, but that is going to be one that will be an amazing match to watch. But what a performance there from CSUF, doing what they knew they could do, showing that, hey, just because the end of the season started off being a little slow, and, maybe you can sit there and say these teams shouldn't have taken games from them, still proving why so far throughout all of MCC, they have yet to lose a series. That is an immaculate stat.
Yeah, 12-0. I think we're going to have a chance here to talk to some player from CSUF. But as Arch says, he knows ball. 4-0. He was the one to call it. But I think let's talk to a player who was a part of that squad to make it 4-0. Nebula will be joining us. Nebula, how are you doing?
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I mean, dominant from you guys. I think it's safe to say.
Absolutely.
You were talking about how you really wanted to play this this Beans Clemson roster, and you just showed up and showed you guys are pretty safely the best in the South.
Yeah, been a good series so far, good season. been fun.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say. I'll start off with questions in the sense of I feel like the beginning of this series was obviously a lot closer than the ending of it. Were there any concerns going into it about this Clemson team that you guys were like, oh yeah, we need to keep an eye on this and we need to make sure we're watching out for it?
I think it's, I think the same generalized answer that you'll get from most people. It's just, every game is usually the same, especially when we're all pretty close in rank. And even if we are whatever an O right now, we still play this, the same against every single team. And I feel like when we change that, we struggle. So just keeping the same gameplay and for every single team has seemed to work out, and treating them as an equal is how we win.
Yeah, and I want to ask. I know it was talked about in the past that you guys felt like it was a bit. You guys were playing a bit worse than you feel you've played in general these last few weeks, but I think this is the best we've seen you in a good minute. Do you guys feel like that's true?
Um, I mean, we haven't. I mean, it's been tough to play because right now my internet's out. I'm at a friend's house. We're running central servers, so it's tough to adapt per game. But I think definitely the past couple weeks, no matter the circumstances, I think we came out and played how we wanted to play, at least more so like it. And yeah,
That is what matters, and obviously, it's leading to the results that you want. You guys are doing an absolutely amazing job. And as the other series did just end at actually about the exact same time as this one did, we have just learned that you guys are going to be playing up against Nebraska. Any thoughts relative to that match? Anything you're excited about?
I mean, I don't believe we've played them yet, so that's going to definitely be a good series. I've heard a lot of good things about them, so just playing the same as we always do. We're hoping to come out on top, and looking forward to the next game.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Nebula, for joining us here. We're not going to keep you any longer, and good luck on that game on Wednesday. We will see you then.
Yes,
See you
sir.
then.
Thank you guys.
Yep, of course. Have a good one. And with that, I believe it is officially confirmed from both lower rounds that those games will be happening tomorrow. So today will be coming to an end. But in the end, we have a 4-1 Nebraska Iowa State, and we have a 4-0 CSUF over Clemson. I mean, can we just talk about like how insane that is? Like genuinely?
And I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to say that it's insane. I feel like a lot of these teams were kind of the expectations. I think the fashion that it went about is probably the insane part of it. We were maybe expecting a little bit of fight back, a little bit of kickback, but nonetheless, our two number one seeds are making it to that upper final. So, considering the layout of the entire tourney, considering what the conference play has given us, it seems like we're pretty well set on schedule.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's going to be interesting because there's two games. We will see the times and see the streams then. But Iowa State versus Washington State, right? These are two teams. Very interesting what will happen there. 3-4 seed. And then the other elimination game, Clemson versus Kansas State. And I mean, a lot of questions have been thrown in the air if you're Clemson now, right? Like, you've suddenly become, you've been hit in the mouth. And suddenly you got to respond. Kansas State, they are more than good enough that if you are not prepared, they can take you down. Are we going to see are we going to see 3 teams make the top 4 or north? Or are we going to have an even 2-2 of the top 4? But I think that's something we will be finding out tomorrow. I think that's the end of today's MCC playoffs, wouldn't you say?
I think that's a fair way to end it. We obviously still have a lot more MCC play that is going to be coming your guys' way. So make sure that you're staying up to date with everything that is happening. Make sure you're keeping an eye out in case some of these streams are going on. Making sure that you're keeping track of the teams that you're cheering for, because we're not done yet. We still have a lot more play to go through, so thank you for joining us for just one game today, but still, nonetheless, a great game to watch, and we will be catching you guys tomorrow.
See you then.
See ya.